Hello and welcome to another Six Sages Gaming Deck Spotlight. Today we're going to talk about something a little different. Opus 3 meta is underway and there's a lot of very exciting brews coming out. We've posted that all on Mognet, but as we were going through it, we kind of noticed something. A lot of people are excited about Cadets, but not only that, in recent events it placed 4 times in top 8. And when we were looking at this, we realized there's only 6 heroes in this deck. This is a budget deck. Matt priced it out. It was under $50 to build this deck. Now, aside from the starter ace, which might be a little difficult to get because you have to buy the starter, this deck can mostly be created by people who already have product of Opus 3, minus maybe the Cosmos, and can give this deck away to new players. And really that is the message of this video. If you want to build your locals, if you want to get people interested in the game, and there are a lot of us out there that need that help and need that support, build this deck for them. It's going to cost you next to nothing, and it's going to get cards in a player's hand, and it's enough to get them hooked. So again, the whole thing about this is you can build this deck on a budget, do well with it at locals, get yourself some credit, and then upgrade into some other decks if you want to. So I hope someone can take that away from this video and start building their locals by using this deck. Now, of course, this is another Cadets deck. We're very used to seeing it, and I will post the Wind Lightning version in case you want to see that as well in the comments section, so you can pick between the two. But I really want to focus on Fire, Lightning, Wind in this video, the tricolor build that won out of Thailand. And with that, let's get right into the card selection. So first off, we have Ace, and this should really be no surprise. In our previous video, we've talked about how much value Ace really brings to the table. Previously, we only had 9, which is still a very good card, but now we have King and Machina, and really these are probably ranked in the order, and by best to worst, I really just mean by what order I would like to see them in. King is always going to be your most powerful forward. 9 is good because he can pump Ace and help give him a damage boost, so it's really stuck between King and 9, and then Machina is just great for playing for free because it's a 4-drop AK and the effect is insane. I can't stress enough how many games that I won just off of Guardian Blades. Now, keeping in mind we were playing against non-Minwu decks, and sure, that's going to happen from time to time, but we've played it against some water variants that had only Larsa, which was easy to deal with and combo off. We played it against some ice variants. We played it against an ice earth deck. And again, let me tell you, if they don't have Minwu, it's damn near close to an auto win with Guardian Blades. So again, can't stress enough how insanely strong that special has been for us. So this Ace package, along with the powerful specials that they bring to the table, mostly point blank shot in Guardian Blades, Primal Roar, you're not going to use that much, really brings together that package. And then, of course, we have our other Cadets. And again, what I love about this deck is you really don't get punished by running 3 ofs because all of these specials are just so good to use. Cinque, her home run swing is going to kill something every single time. We have a backup that we can use to pay for the cost, so it's just really great removal. Sice, it's really important to know that her effect is per character, and again, there's some 30 odd cards out of 50 that count towards this. Now again, some of those are going to be doubles and what have you, but her effect is often good enough just to kill something all on its own. 7 now, which might not be that exciting as a 2-drop 4K, has 2 very important things going for her. She helps you push through damage with the first effect, and Snake Bite is really what helps the deck come together. You don't want to die to things like Shantoto or Cloud of Darkness, or your opponent just might have a very timely, even a Raban sometimes it is fine to cancel if you're in a position where that's going to help you win the game. Just the versatility and offensive capability that 7 brings to the table makes it, in my opinion, still one of the best Cadets in the deck. And then lastly, we have 8, 3-drop 7K, and he really should just say ready your forwards, because as we were playing through this deck, that's really what he was doing, probably 99 times out of 100, you know, because you want to every turn open up with Ace, so you mulligan aggressively for it, so you play Ace and 2 other things, you probably drop 1 more forward, swing out with your team, your opponent's thinking that he might be able to crack back for a few points of damage, play 8, ready your entire team or activate, and they're good to go on defense. So 8 is, you know, not the not the best by any means, but his ability to activate your forwards is absolutely helpful. And yes, it's characters as well, but in this deck you'll find that you're mostly relying on forwards to push through for some damage. And then for our few last forwards, we have the new Queen, which is so much better than the EX Burst Queen. This card really will come out of nowhere and take that last point of damage you need. The Speed Rush ability, not only giving haste but unblockable for just the cost of Queen. So you just have to play, you know, discard one card, play Queen because you have one backup in play, pitch a Queen, get the effect, and get in that last point of damage. It's a surprisingly very strong card, and First Strike is not to be overlooked either. The card that I really like in terms of just sticking power and really giving your opponent a hellish time is Trey. The ability where it's active or dull has different effects that can affect it or not affect it, has proven time and time again just an annoyance that your opponent has to consider about when they're going to be using it. Now this one doesn't have a special, so this is where we have a little bit of a drawback, but I'm not feeling terrible when I see this because I'm always going to be turning this guy sideways. Then lastly, we have the Fire Ace, and at first glance, this might look like kind of an odd pick when we want to be so focused on the light ace. And sure, you want to open up with the light ace every single time, but I had found that once, you know, our hand is chipped away or we're getting to the mid to late game, his cut cards effect is insanely strong for what it can do. And the plus 1000 power to your other forwards is nothing to laugh at either. It really helps that Anthem push where you need it, because you'll notice in our backup configuration we don't have either Moogle or Maria, so the plus 1000 power is a very welcomed addition. Ace is also here for the color fixing, because we are playing 3 colors. Sometimes we have a card just to discard, but again, I really don't feel terrible playing the cut cards effect in this deck because it's going to hit something you know, every single time for 8k. Obviously sometimes more when so much of your deck is focused around the job class 0 cadet, so it will kill what you need it to kill. So again, this deck has a surprising amount of removal to it, and with that we have Ifrit and Odin, both of these cards from Opus 3, again rares. This deck is so cheap, guys, I really can't stress that enough. Ifrit, it's going to deal 8000 damage every single time it's an EX burst. As you guys know, 8000 damage is really the magic number for having summons to be able to kill something. Odin, same thing. It has a condition where you have to have a cadet forward. You're always going to have it, so you get to break something for 4. On top of this, they're both type 0, so Rem gives you the ability to get them back, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, for summons, both of these are just absolutely fantastic in the Cadets base decks. Then lastly, we are getting into our backups, and again, right off the bat, minus Arecia, you see that 3 of these are class 0 cadets, which again ties in so well to so many effects in the deck, and is really why you want to push for that 3rd color if you can with Cater. It's a 2-drop fire backup. It's not all that exciting for the effect, I know, but again, with both Ace's special and King's special, it costs 1 red, so it's the perfect backup to play with that. And then it also can help your plays into the Guardian Blades for Machina, where you have 1 backup, you discard a fire card, and then you discard another Machina for the special, and it just helps make those plays in the deck. Deuce, no surprise here, with Concerto being a very strong effect, and again, going to kill whatever it needs to kill, and being a 2-drop that we want to see very early on. Arecia, now I do have to take a moment just to appreciate the fact that it is a 3-drop, and there are going to be a number of times where hopefully you know what your opponent is, you know, they're not playing Earth, which if you want to take the gamble, but there was a few games in testing where I was able to discard 2 for Arecia to go into the ace play on my first turn, and it was enough to win the game because it gave us a backup. We had 2 things on the board, and our opponent very quickly had to play defensively, and if they don't have a Shantoto, it's going to be a very short game for them. So I absolutely love the power or the aggression that this deck presents. And then lastly, we have Rem, and it's really important to note here that it's a category type 0 card from your break zone. So this gets back almost every single card in the deck, and it's an EX burst. Yes, it doesn't get back like Cosmos or some of those things, but the important thing here is that it lets you reuse some of those critical special effects when you really need them. If you want removal, you can go for Ace or King, Fire Ace that is. You know, if you want the survivability, you can get a 7 back, or you can get back the Odin or Ifrit. It just does so much for the deck. And if you're really focused on this type 0 cadet based build, you cannot run less than 3 run because you need to see it every game. And in a perfect world, you will hit one off of an EX burst as well. And then lastly, some of our backup choices just to round it out. A 1 of Black Mage, really not all that exciting. It does help with some interactions if you want to ping something with Deuce and then use Black Mage to kill it. That's kind of the one really good thing about it. Or it can help block and then trade up, surprisingly. Cosmos, just an automatic staple. Anytime that you're trying to play a deck that has more than 2 colors, you really just need Cosmos or Chaos for that consistency, and being able to tap for any color is huge in this. And then lastly, Sage. Now personally, I haven't been all that excited for Sage, but it has been a very important card to discard so you have the fire cost. With that in mind, I would actually like this card to be VV because it's an EX burst, so you can get value, potential value off of it that way as well, and it's just something else to consider. But we want to use, again, the list from Thailand as reference, so please feel free to play around with this a little bit, especially the backup configuration, and find out what works for you. So again, guys, that is our deck spotlight for this week. Really wanted to take a moment just to say this is a budget deck. It is going to be, you know, something you can play at locals and win with. It's not going to win nationals. You know, I don't think it has the power to get through 14 rounds of best of 1 Swiss, but I certainly think that this has some staying power where if you have even, you know, 20-30 man locals, I would not be surprised at all to see someone make top 8 with it. And that's, again, the most important part about this is getting more people into Final Fantasy and giving them this budget deck option that you can most likely build by just bulk cards that you have laying around. So we really hope you will take this list, build a deck out of it, and give it to someone to get into the game. That is the best thing that we can do to help introduce new players into the game, or even leaving it sleeved up at the shop to demo with. So thank you very much for watching, guys. That's all we have for this week's deck spotlight video. If you liked it, drop us a like, comment down below about which deck you prefer. Do you like the 3-color cadets or just the Wind Lightning variant? And of course, always subscribe for future Final Fantasy trading card game content. So until next time, we'll catch you on the next 6 Sages Gaming Deck Spotlight. Have a good one. This video made possible by the patron support of viewers such as yourself. Thank you to our honorary Sages.